So we have Nick's image here, and you went down to Half Moon Bay. I used to live in the South Bay and would go to that festival. There was a run associated with it as well. And it's such a lovely festival. It was a great idea for you to go there as a place to complete this assignment and get a group portrait. You're at ISO 100 here, 59 millimeters, f4 at 1/60th of a second. And those settings all look pretty good, but as we look closer, it looks like there might be a little bit of movement happening here. Not much, but I would give up having the ISO at 100, push it up to 200, just to have that 1/125th of a second, just that little jump on the shutter speed to make sure that she could stay totally sharp for you. The lighting that you're using here, I'm not sure if you're in shade right now, if you're just in shade and that barn tent behind you is blocking the sun, or if it's just a typical coastal day in the South Bay where it's really overcast. But the lighting that you're using is overall pleasing. It's more informational lighting. It's allowing us to see all of the detail on both of them. It's not creating a lot of depth on any of your subjects, but if we're on that line where we have to choose hard light that's going to create blown out highlights and dark shadows, or flatter light, we would always err on this side. The relationship between the three of them is very sweet, right? So you have three giraffes and a baby giraffe, like a family project Halloween costume is just really fun to see and see their relationship between the three of them and that they're all willing to buy into this. The child probably is not getting a huge choice in it, but they're all willing to buy into something that's probably her interest, and that's what spurred this whole thing. Now, given that we know that this is such a vibrant area, I think moving them and having that busyness of the background, the busyness that you said you wanted to avoid, would help tell the narrative of this in a stronger way than this plain background does. So allowing there to be more depth, maybe pulling them away from where the crowd is, but seeing people rummaging through the acres of pumpkins and seeing all of the decorations. I think that busyness would add to your narrative here instead of take away from it as you were concerned. Overall, it's a sweet image between this family, and I think you could push the narrative and what is communicated a bit further by including the environment. And then this is our last image by Siyue, and you're at ISO 1600, so a really high ISO, 135 millimeters, so a longer lens. And remember, when we have that longer lens, it flattens out the scene. And what I mean by that is it makes this subject appear closer to this subject. The distance of that table appears smaller. And as we move back, everything's kind of compressed within the scene. You're at f5.6 at 1/640th of a second. So that's a fast enough shutter speed that with this longer lens you can hand hold. So that's working fine. What are you showing us here? You're showing us, let's see, 5 guys sitting at a table playing poker. And it looks like that's probably what's going on all around. That it's not just this table, but all of these tables have this sort of big event. I'm picturing it like when you go downtown and you see all the people playing chess and they're all lined up, that it's kind of a gathering place. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's the feeling I get from what you've communicated here. The lighting on your subjects, it looks like it's kind of an overcast day. You actually have really nice lighting coming across some of your subject's face. Even though you're not controlling where they're sitting or anything, the lighting is still overall giving good illumination to them. The layering that is happening, we can see all of the subjects, or we can't see this guy, but we see that they're in communication with each other, and we have individual faces to look at. Nothing's obstructing that. We see them each as individuals, like their hats, their clothing. This is all giving us insight on them. Changing your angle of view slightly so we could see what they're doing, I think would be stronger. So right now we can see that there's cards in this guy's hand, but really if you're just looking at this image quickly, you would probably think that they were just having a meal together. You wouldn't think that they're sitting around playing a game. So moving that angle of view so we can see what's going on in the center of the table would really enhance the narrative of this image. So that would be the main adjustment I would make here. I think it's fine to show the back of this guy's head. It's the only way, unless you're posing them, that you're going to get them all in the same frame. But adjusting so we understand the context and the narrative that's happening here, I think would fill this out a little bit more. So kind of the same thing for both of you on this last review, where I think you could push the narrative. You have such a rich narrative in both of these images. Here, these guys just sitting around in the middle of the afternoon playing poker, the pumpkin patch, and the family all dressed up the same in the last image, and how we can build that out so we're getting that full picture is really what we want.